If you volunteer with kids or teenagers, you've probably heard it's just a phase, at least once. And usually the word phase in this sentence means a season or a stage that a kid is in that we look forward to being over. And maybe you lead kids that are in that I don't share phase, or I don't eat things that touch phase. Or maybe you lead teenagers who are in the TikTok influencer phase, or the energy drinks are actually a food group phase. The point is, no matter what age group you lead, we often talk about their age and stage of development by saying, it's just a phase, but don't worry, it'll be over soon. But what if we are missing the best part? What if each stage of development is actually an opportunity and not just an obstacle that's in a kid's life? Here's what I mean. Let's start by redefining the word phase. Phase is defined as a time frame in a kid's life when you can leverage distinctive opportunities to influence their future. Did you catch that? There are distinct opportunities you have in the preschool years, in the elementary years, in the middle school years, and in the high school years. Because kids are developing and their brains are forming in unique ways at each phase, we have the opportunity to influence their future in a unique way. That's why for the rest of our time together, you're going to hear from some experts in the phase that you lead. And as we do, there's a phrase that I want you to remember. It's just a phase, so don't miss it.
So you've signed up to lead middle schoolers. Maybe you've noticed they keep coming up with prayer requests for their pets, or they don't talk at all, or they won't stop talking ever. Or they're constantly leaving you wondering, so what were you thinking? That's because they're middle schoolers, and middle schoolers don't think like little kids anymore, and they don't think like high schoolers either. They're unique, and because of how their brains are developing, there are some opportunities you have at this stage you will never have again. Here's what I mean. At this stage of development, the teenage brain is completely rewiring. They're developing the skill of abstract thinking for the first time, which is great, but may mean they need some extra practice using that muscle to think about people other than themselves. I could talk about brain development and faith development all day, but for the purpose of this conversation, I want us to focus on one big idea. Middle schoolers think like engineers. That means they solve problems by connecting concepts together like building blocks. Just like an engineer builds one idea on another or connects two parts of a bridge, a middle schooler is constantly making connections. That's why at this phase, it's important to break it down. When an idea has layers or complexity, it can be helpful to break it down into the simplest building blocks and connect them one by one. So whether you're talking about a story in the Bible or just giving instructions on how to play a game, remember to build on one idea at a time. For example, if you want them to all read John 3:16 together, instead of saying, grab your Bible, open to John 3:16, and let's read this together, I might say, all right, everyone grab your Bible. And then I'd wait for them to get it. Then I would say, let's open to John. I'd help everybody get there. All right, let's look at chapter 3. Once they're there, verse 16. Once they're there, all right, who wants to read? The point is not to say less. The point is to break everything down so they understand it the first time. Here's another big idea. Middle schoolers are motivated by acceptance. That means they're constantly asking who likes them, who they like, and where they fit into a group. It also means when you show up consistently and demonstrate that you like them just as they are, you're helping their middle school brain remember what they learned in preschool, that God's family is a safe place with safe people, and they belong here. In addition to showing up consistently, there are a few other ways we can affirm a middle schooler's journey. First, normalize what they're feeling. Let them know they're not the only one to ever feel that way. Second, care about what they care about. Choose to be interested in the apps, the movies, and the hobbies that they enjoy. And finally, remember, every compliment counts. Even if they don't act like it matters to them, you'd be shocked at how much it matters to a middle schooler when you name something great about them. Listen, I want you to know that when you show up each week, you're doing more than chaperoning. You're creating a safe place where a middle schooler can develop an everyday faith of their own. Years from now, what they believe about God, themselves, and others will be impacted by what you do in this phase. And there are only 52 weeks this year before a 6th grader becomes a 7th grader or an 8th grader moves to high school. Our time is short. This year, we have distinct opportunities to influence a kid's future. So make each week count. Remember, it's just a phase, so don't miss it.